Tharaka. Owen Baya, Kilifi North.
Robert Mbui, Kadhiani.
Stephen Mule, MP Matungulu.
Rehab Mukami, Nyeri County.
And I'm Caleb Amisi, Caleb Amisi, support.
Thank you, Chairman. Mishimboko Likoni.
We will start. Eric, we'll invite you to introduce yourself. Tell us your name, your educational background, your work experience, your competences, and why you think you have the suitability to the appointment to which you have been proposed. After that, you give your papers to the clerk to verify. But before we do that, we will invite you to take an oath. We have the holy books, the Quran and the Bible. Which one do you swear with?
The Bible.
So be upstanding, take the Bible in your right hand, and recite the oath that the sergeant will hold for you.
I, Eric Mureithi Muga, do swear that the evidence I shall give for this committee on the matter and its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Take your seat. You've given her your papers to bring to the clerk. He will cross-check with what we have to see if they correspond. So start by introducing yourself, your name, your educational background, your work experience, and your competences.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. And the Committee on Appointments. I'll start by thanking God for this opportunity to sit in front of the esteemed members and also the President for giving me an opportunity on this nomination. My name is Eric Mureithi Muga, 32 years of age, born in a village called Adhi, which is in Igembe South constituency, Meru County. I went to Adhi Primary School, which is a walking distance from my birthplace, and did my KCPE in 2005. I performed well and enrolled in Lenana School, where I sat my KCSE in the year 2009. After that, I performed well. I progressed to the University of Nairobi, Faculty of Architecture and Engineering, where I did a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and civil and construction engineering. I performed really well. I got a first class amongst my colleagues, and upon graduation, I got a job that relates to this docket of sanitation and irrigation in a company called Mangat IB Patel Consulting Engineers. This is one of the leading consulting firms in this country. While working, I was very interested in water, so I enrolled back in the year 2017 for a master's degree in the University of Nairobi and specialized on water resources engineering, where I graduated in the year 2022. I'm born in a family with 6 siblings. I'm the third born. I am married, and I've worked for 8 to 9 years, Honorable Speaker, on water and sanitation. In the process of carrying out my daily activities, I have worked at all levels, mostly in the private sector. I've worked at all levels. I've worked and engaged with stakeholders from the ministry, mostly water development works as consultant. I have progressed in my career growth from an intern to a design engineer, and now to assistant resident engineer also, and also in some projects, an assistant project engineer. I am duly registered with the Engineers Board of Kenya as a professional engineer, and duly registered with the Institution of Engineers of Kenya as a corporate member. During my work activities, I have developed a passion to ensure that every Kenya, in my little scope that I've served so far, has access to water, which is a human right, and also a constitutional right. Service to my fellow countrymen is a service to God, and given the opportunity, if this House approves my nomination, I will do all I can to ensure that Kenyans have access to an economic and basic right, and serve with honor and dignity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. I'll now invite members to ask you some questions, and I expect you to answer the questions clearly, precisely, and concisely. Hakuna stories. You just answer the questions as they are asked. I'll invite the Deputy Speaker to be the first to ask you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Muga, you most likely were following the proceedings in Parliament and the country, and you know that the Finance Bill 2024 was withdrawn, which therefore means that there is a shortage of funding in the ministry to which you seek confirmation. So I would like to hear your ideas on the alternatives. For example, since the majority of farmers are small-scale holders, leveraging on the use of water pans and harvesting during the rainy season for use for the rest of the year. We know that places like Yatta only get 2 days of rain a year, but they have water pans that are producing food the whole year. So we want to see how you can leverage on that. So the higher percentage of will be water pans as opposed to big dams, which you don't have money for now. And also, how will you leverage on the public-private partnerships to be able to fund the water sector in the light of shortage of funding? Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. I would like to respond to Honorable Gladys Boss' question on the rejected finance bill and shortage of funding. The Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation has 2 state departments, the State Department of Irrigation, State Department of Water and Sanitation. The 2 state departments, the State Department of Irrigation has had a budget cut of almost 1.7 billion. The State Department of Irrigation and Sanitation and Water has had a budget cut of 2.7 billion. That means we can't really develop large-scale dams, as you have correctly stated. And we need to raise funds. Raising funds, as one of the ways you've suggested, as you've mentioned, is the PPPs, public-private partnerships, that we package our projects in such a way that we attract public interest in our projects, but also ensure that the partnerships do not exploit the end user. The end user is the consumer. This, in the ministry, we have WASREB, Water Services Regulatory Board, and this will ensure that consumers who are the final end users of these services that the ministry seeks to offer will be served at the right tariffs. WASREB is responsible for the tariffs. On water pans is not a long-term solution to our water problems, especially in the areas you've mentioned of Yatta, etc. But they are relatively inexpensive compared to dams. To develop large-scale dams, that's where we will need the leverage of PPPs. And in this case, I will work with the Directorate of PPPs and the Exchequer, the National Treasury, to ensure that Kenyans get value for money. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Indeed, Eric has preempted my question because I wanted to ask him about how he can leverage on PPPs, but since you have answered that, I don't know if you were to explore the possibility of using PPPs for the large-scale dams. Do you, in your opinion, think there is also an opportunity to leverage on the development of dams together with using those dams for agriculture and leasing land for large-scale farming, where you can get investors who will want to lease land for large-scale farming and at the same time develop land, develop the dams for use in the irrigation projects, and the same dams can be used to provide water, as you said, to end users at a rate that will not exploit the Kenyan consumers of water. Two, I have seen you have had quite some experience with in the area of sanitation, especially your work with the Nairobi River Sewerage Project. And one of your state departments, if approved, will deal with sanitation matters. How do you intend to deal with the issue of pollution? Working again together with the Ministry of Environment. Do you see any opportunities around that space? Thank you,
Yes.
Speaker.
Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. In response to the question from Ichungwa, Honorable Ichungwa, it is true that to develop large-scale dams, we will need external funding that the government at the moment, due to austerity measures, cannot sustain. These large-scale dams, Honorable Ichungwa, through the chairperson or the speaker, are multi-purpose dams. They not only provide water for domestic use, which is basic, they also provide water for irrigation. Irrigation is a key component in sustaining and developing climate resilience amongst arid and semi-arid areas. The concept Honorable Ichungwa, through the speaker, has raised is viable. That if we develop a dam, a large-scale dam, in an arid and semi-arid area, it is prudent to also have a PPP to lease land for irrigation, so that we have value for money for our large investments. It would be utterly wrong, if approved by this House, if I don't explore that option. Water is a human right, and also water is intertwined with food security. So on irrigation, Honorable Ichung'wah, through the speaker, that is correct. That's correct.
Could you tell us, since you've worked in the water sector, do you have any success? Do you know of any success stories where the dams, large-scale dams, have been built using the PPP method?
Thank you for your question, Honorable Boss, through the speaker. There are case studies. I haven't done any of them, but there are many case studies where actually in the development of concept notes for these PPPs, irrigation is a key component so that during financial feasibility, when doing a dam, we expect benefits, apart from indirect benefits of such as microclimates that develop within the region. The piece that comes with avoidance of animal, livestock and people conflicts due to drought and famine. Some benefits, key benefits that are considered are domestic water, irrigation, very key for production of food, and hydropower. Thank you.
Small follow-up on that, because of those issues of PPP CS nominee. You cut the image of a young person, very professional, a good scholar, and that of a clean slate. You'll be getting into a space in the public sector that over the years has been marred by corruption. I see you shaking your head. I hope that shaking of your head is signifying a determination that you will not get roped into the cartels that have bedeviled the water sector over the years. If you have been taken through the State Department of Irrigation and the construction of those mega dams, from Badasa to Ma Dam, they are all riddled with corruption. What can you tell the people of Kenya, and more so the young people of Kenya, in relation to where you stand today and the position you will take in the fight against corruption in the development of water resources in the country?
Thank you, Speaker. In response to Honorable Ichung'wah's question on the fact that I am about to face cartels and corruption, I will put my stand public. I have diligently served in my previous positions. I have held transparency, accountability, and my firm stand on corruption is, as you've said, I come as a clean slate. I'm not beholden to anyone. I am not shackled or tell that to anyone. And I think this is my personal opinion. Corruption is a cancer in the society. We have to root it out one way or the other. And if my nomination is approved by this House, I will engage in my duties, bracing and embracing integrity, honesty, and accountability to lead from the front. And if there are couplets, and I would expect the same from state officers under my mandate in the ministry. And if any of them is found capable of this, I understand we are a constitutionally bound country, and I will let the agents that deal with corruption, that is the anti-EACC and other investigative bodies, take their course, and the law should be followed to the latter. Thank you, sir.
Nelson.
You come into the cabinet as the face of the young people. I'd like to know how you intend to use your ministry to create employment, because the biggest problem that we have in the country at the moment is youth unemployment. I want to hear that. And what innovations will you be proposing in the cabinet to make sure that the young people of this country have opportunities to be employed.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. I would like to respond to Honorable Nelson on youth employment. 75% of Kenya's economy is driven by agriculture. I appreciate that. And I also appreciate that the young people are advocating for services. I am not naive, and I will appreciate that. On youth employment, the ministry as a state department of irrigation. Irrigation is mandated to harvest, store water. It is mandated to reclaim lands for productivity. And it is also mandated to increase the acreage of irrigation in the country. If approved by this House, I would first of all start by sensitization. We need as a country to appreciate that agriculture is not a by the way. It is a profession in itself. It is an economic activity that generates income to all of us. The young people, we need to understand that since high school, I would work with other ministries, such as the Ministry of Education, that projects such as micro irrigation that the ministry is rolling out, whereby we sink boreholes, pump the water to an elevated tank, and give the opportunity to clubs like 4K clubs to irrigate land for subsistence farming. Those activities are being coordinated with agriculture teachers to inculcate that and train the young people, who I understand approximately 800,000 to 500,000 young people are getting out of tertiary institutions. If they have this prior knowledge, and when they come out, I would advocate for private entrepreneurs to further these skills acquired at school level, while the ministry's job would be to provide water for irrigation. On innovation, we as a country, we have to embrace the fact that technology is changing every day. Changes in technology comes with new ideas, brighter and better ways to do activities. For example, in the ministry, I have been involved in water service providers distribution networks. These networks, most of them are people depend on memory to remember where the existing lines were, how they were done, when they were done. So I would encourage innovation in activities such as modeling, which will empower and employ young people in these water service providers to forego and to eliminate dependence on people's memory. Technicians depend on memory to tell you where the pipeline is. Smart meters in these WSPs, where these meters are GSM enabled, creating more opportunities for the youth. And if I find an opportunity to sit in the cabinet as approved by this House, I would also be a champion to developing policies, not only in my ministry, but in other ministries that include and take care of public participation, especially the young people, inclusivity, and that their opinions are heard and they find the final decision or the final policy that is adopted as a country accommodates their issues.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Naisula.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Muga.